the Final Four just became the Final Three. Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Brother Brothers, the ultimate unofficial podcast. I'm your Big Brother obsessed host, Fox Van Allen, and joining me today, if you don't like his face, it doesn't matter. He's here till the end. It's Mr. Lance Cartelli. Hello, Lance.
Hey, Fox. That's been, the motto of my whole life, pretty much.
How you doing, my man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm ready for this season, ready to crown a winner. Not for it to end, but to crown a winner. What about you?
It's been a long season. We've been here all season long, and we have endured, I don't know, what has it been, like 12 different head of household reigns now, and every single one has been either the commission or Enzo. And the season has played out exactly how you would imagine that to go. So, but hey, I said it. We're here to the end, and we are almost at the end. We are here at the Final Three. We're going to talk about the Final Three today between Enzo, Cody, and Nicole. We'll spoil the part one of the final HoH competition. We'll talk a little bit about Christmas. Christmas seems to think that she played a pretty good game in the house, but we'll see what Lance has to say about that.
I think pretty good is underrating it for her.
Yeah. And of course, we will talk about all the filler that we watched this entire week long, from the sneezes to the dance moves. Okay, Lance, let's start out with the good stuff here. The good stuff, which is
good stuff.
What is the good stuff? Is the good stuff Christmas going home? So Christmas apparently had a very high opinion of herself and of her game that she played, Lance. And I guess my first question for you, before we get into this week, what are your thoughts on Christmas's game here?
Terrifying, in a word, I guess. Not as bad as last time, but she didn't do much. She didn't bring a lot of, she at least brought some of the drama, which, the season was lacking and everything, but it wasn't like a great game, and obviously not a game where she had a fighting chance against everybody. So
I will say, I do respect that she fought until the very end.
Absolutely. She made some good pitches.
A lot of people this season did not do that. A lot of people this season were fine with going out of the house. And it was nice to see someone, despite the fact that she had no shot this week in any of her arguments, she tried, and that's the best she can do, I guess. Are there ways that she could have stuck around longer? I don't know. Like her only shot at power was that Bailey HoH, and maybe she shouldn't have done that. Maybe doing something different there would have helped her game. But
yeah, with a season this boring, though, it's like there aren't a lot of places where things could have really changed other than, just different people winning HoH.
Yeah, and Christmas really gets played by Enzo over and over and over again. And a lot of people kind of get played the same way this season, where Enzo's there and they think Enzo's ready to make a move with them, but he never seems to do it. Although maybe he's ready to make a night move, Lance, in this HoH competition that he won.
Great segue, by the way.
Yeah, no, I think this is a very interesting Final Four, just in the sense that this is the first Final Four that I can remember that has gone this badly. There's no reason for the Final Four winning the Final Four HoH for that. It's just immunity. But yet we wind up with, first of all, Christmas is upset because Enzo doesn't even tell her that he's putting her on a block, which I don't get that at all. But Nicole and Cody are upset that Enzo at Final Four is not a team player. Would you be a team player at Final Four, Lance?
No, you're going for yourself. And, he could have explained it a little better, because them going after each other still lets him win and everything. Mm-hmm. So he didn't do a very good job. Anytime, Enzo's on the spot for lying, he just shrivels up and just has no idea what's going on. And he's just a terrible liar. So, but it was just it backfired on him, but it also, helped him. But it wasn't like he was going anywhere, because as Christmas said, he's getting third.
Yeah, all that he has to do here is explain to Christmas that my nominations don't matter. Nominations don't matter at Final Four. Christmas seems to think they do, because she is very eager to stay off the block. Again, it doesn't. Nicole, on the other hand, who understands the game a little bit better, just tells Enzo, "Yeah, put me on the block. It's fine. Whatever."
Yeah. It wasn't a big deal. I did love Nicole's reactions to just how poorly Enzo was playing. It was really funny. Yeah. And then one thing I really thought was interesting was Christmas, confronting Cody about the HoH competition. It's like, what are you supposed to do? There's two people to go after. He's going after you. It's like, it's not a personal thing. This is just how it goes. And so for her to get so wound up in that, I thought was really interesting.
With a lot of her Christmas face moves that are overly dramatic facial expressions that she has.
And just basically telling her like, this is how it goes, and her not understanding, which is how she's always been.
Yeah, I think Cody handled that pretty well. As far as that conversation goes, it's not a full 100% honesty, but I went after you. You were the first one there. I wanted to play aggressive. So there are 3 people left. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's different if there's like 8 people on the board and then you are specifically going after one person. But this is every man for themselves.
Yeah, 5 people against Maggie. That's a different scenario here.
Exactly.
One person against Christmas, and I guess one person playing for themselves.
Yeah.
Not a big surprise here that playing for himself wins Enzo the HoH here. Although it is rather close. There are not an awful lot of moves left for Enzo to make after Christmas makes her final move. Who knows if it would have gone differently. If the only goal here is to keep Christmas from winning head of household, Enzo's strategy is fine.
Exactly.
I think he's right that if they both go after Christmas, then there is maybe a 1 in 3 shot that it just doesn't work out for them.
They could have gotten stuck there. I totally get that. He just did a terrible job explaining it. Mm-hmm. And then I did think that just his tactic is just a microcosm for how he plays. He plays scared and running away, and that's exactly what he did in this game. Yeah.
It gave this entire HoH, I guess this entire week really, gave Christmas a little bit of extra fire for going after Cody. She is ready to throw some hands here. When the HoH is over, she is very glad that Cody got screwed in the HoH by his friend Enzo winning it. Chasing that dragon gets you bit in the ass. That's what Christmas said to Cody. I like the phrase. It's not a very accurate phrase about what happened here, but I like it.
Doesn't really make any sense. But it sounded cool. And then I like how she does it with the little buddy tap too. And it's like, I'm just kidding, but you're not at all.
Reckless. It's reckless. But he's there until the end, and he's probably going to win the game. Predictably, because it's a Final Four, Enzo's nominations here are not very surprising. He can only keep one person off the block. The person he keeps off the block is, shocker, it's Cody, his BFF. It's Nicole and Christmas. And Christmas cannot handle this. Christmas is so angry. She is upset. She's not talking to anybody. She finally realizes that everybody's working against her. Okay. What do you think about Christmas's reaction here, Lance?
I mean, it's just totally opposite of what she told Julie, which is really funny. It's a game. I'm not going to take anything personally. And that's exactly what she did. Like this, her big brother is taking everything seriously. So a poor sport, which, not surprising at all. So sad to see, but I am happy she's gone.
Yeah. So Enzo has a target here, and Enzo's target as HoH, not that he has any power to do anything about it as HoH, because he can't vote. There's no tie. He's just going to let whoever wins the veto handle this thing. His plan is to get out Nicole. He does not like Nicole. He thinks she's a former winner. She can maybe win over some people on the jury. Christmas is far more beatable than Nicole. Unfortunately, it seems that there is no combination of people on the block or veto winners that can make this happen. But Enzo seems pretty sure he can do it. First, he pitches it to Christmas first. No way that Christmas is going to cut Nicole over Cody. Then he pitches it to Cody, that Cody should get rid of Nicole, and that goes even worse.
It would have been honestly his best game move that he's pulled off so far if he did get Cody to talk to him into doing that, but it had almost no chance. So it was, like a lot of this week, a filler, really. Yeah,
we had even when we get to the live episode, right? Whenever Big Brother has an eviction coming up, it's always got to be, is it this person or that person? Even when it's clearly going to be Christmas going home, they still need to provide that, like, okay, but what if it's Nicole? So they go through, and the only evidence they have of this, I guess, is just Cody. Cody basically ripping Nicole all week long.
Yeah,
like,
just messing with
you've been in the house so many days, we gotta get rid of you. And, oh, is that your pitch? I don't know. Christmas made a better pitch. And I get why Nicole's frustrated there, but that's not the best misdirect if we're trying to, especially when Enzo blows it and straight up says congratulations to the final three when Christmas is right down the hall.
I mean, that's how much of an afterthought she was. He forgot she was even in the house, which makes sense. But I mean, if I was Cody, I would have done the same thing, just messed with her the whole week. And then, she kind of bought into it. Nobody else did, but she kind of bought into it for a second. And once you get that, then once you get them on the hook, then it's easy. But there wasn't a lot of drama. It's kind of like when you watch the challenge and it's like a blowout and they're like slow motion. Oh, maybe it's close and go to commercial. They couldn't convince us on this one.
Love a good challenge reference.
Always.
This is it's a uninteresting week from that standpoint. But the fact that Enzo wins HoH here, and that Enzo is not going to be the sole deciding vote for this week, does leave it open for something to happen here. There is a glimmer of hope here that maybe Nicole could possibly win the veto, and maybe she cuts Cody. I don't know if she would have here, but that's maybe in the cards. But if Christmas wins the veto, she's definitely going to cut Cody. So there's at least some drama that's set up for the veto challenge. So there's something to get excited for on the Wednesday episode, even if we know now how it turns out. But before we even get to that episode, Lance, or to that competition, we've got to go through a luxury competition. And I'm very curious, Lance. The internet has very strong thoughts about this luxury competition, but I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about this luxury competition that we saw?
It might have been the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Like, there was no skill or logic or anything that went into this. It was them watching. It was like watching like a Twitch stream, It's like watching somebody else play and you have no control. It was such a waste of time. I almost fast forwarded through it, but then I just want to see how dumb it was. And it just kept getting dumber and dumber.
I assure you, I have watched plenty of Twitch streams, and all of them have been more interesting than that. That's not the kind of quality. That's not the kind of quality Twitch stream that I'm looking for there.
Yeah. No offense to the streamers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out Greg. So this competition here, like you said, there's nothing going on here. It is completely random. The house guests, even Nicole, like there's no strategy here. It's just fun to do nothing for 15 minutes, and that's what we do. We do nothing for 15 minutes. Even worse is the fact that this thing winds up being that like Memphis wins it. Like it's like like a metaphor for this terrible competition as like the worst possible, least satisfying result.
Yep, it's Big Brother All-Stars in a nutshell. And what I thought was really funny was then Christmas gets emotional about not picking Memphis in a thing that takes no strategy or skill. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. But like, this whole week was just like a weird Christmas Memphis love fest, even though they're not in the house anymore. It's so odd.
Yeah, that was the real payoff for this competition, really, is that bizarre segment. Christmas does a lot of crying this week, a lot. So much so that I added a tear to her face before I threw her puppet across the room.
I thought that's because she killed somebody.
that's prison. I think they're still alive, Lance.
Got it.
It's just the looks could kill, but Christmas physically has not killed anyone. So congratulations to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is bizarre how. Do you think Memphis is hurt right now? Do you think when Memphis sees that Christmas did not choose him in the luxury, is he going to feel as betrayed as she is worried that he will feel?
He's going to rip off the sleeves of his denim jacket. He's so angry right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a new Big Brother feud. If Keisha's coming after Memphis on the social media now, Memphis is going to come after her. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Just can't say
it was terrible.
The ultimate Big Brother betrayal.
I have another nit to pick about it too.
Please.
David's superhero, David and Goliath. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't get it at all. Like of all of them, that is the worst one.
Well, we watched an awful lot of these battles. I thought it was cute that they kind of did like a chiptune version of the Big Brother song to some of that. If you got to find something that's positive there about it. Right. Congratulations, Nicole, for getting 10 grand. I'm sure there's some Nicole stands out there who don't mind that.
Yeah. You can uninvite 3 more people now from your wedding.
And the only other thing I do want to bring up is that Cody got really, I've never seen Cody so aggressive as he was in this particular competition. The one that had no involvement from him whatsoever, aside from randomly picking. He got up in Enzo's face. It was very intense.
Yeah, you can tell he's a competitive guy, especially when he's not in control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even flashed the double biceps. Love it. Okay, so Lance, we still have a lot to talk about here because I want to talk about all the filler segments that we saw this week. We're gonna drag this thing out. I want to talk about the jury segment. The jury segment is the thing I'm most excited to talk about because I think that's going to show us an awful lot about what's going to happen with the final three and the final vote coming up on Wednesday. We're going to talk about all of that right after this. All right, Lance. So we're back. And I was joking around earlier today, Lance, where I said there wasn't an awful lot going on this week. So let's do a ranking of all 10 filler segments. And it turns out there are exactly 10 filler segments. I was counting after the fact here. So so I want to go through. I don't think we need to spend an awful lot of time with all these, but I want you to just give me, as I go down this list here, give me on a score of like 0 being like awful, like so forgettable, didn't want to see it, to 10 being the most amazing filler segment you've ever seen. And remember, this is just filler segments. Like this is a lower bar. We're discussing filler segments here. So give me a 0 to 10, and then I'm going to keep score here. I've got a little scorecard. Okay. And then
I'll try to remember all of them.
What was the best filler segment this week? Okay, so our first filler segment this week, Lance, Enzo has a conversation with Mulan. There's a back and forth between him and an inflatable cow. This actually has a storyline this week. Mulan then moves up with him into the HoH room. Conversations continue. What do you think about this filler segment?
I thought it was mediocre at best, so I'll give it a 4.2. Oh, can I do decimals or?
Yeah, no, that's going to come in handy.
It is.
That's going to come in handy.
Good.
Yeah, in case we got 2 4s, we don't want that.
No,
okay.
No.
So a 4.20 on Enzo's conversation with Mulan. Moulin Rouge. Apparently Rouge is Mulan's last name.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So filler segment number 2 here. Christmas was in a talent show. Christmas apparently brings up the fact that she was in a talent show to Cody. There was a dance to it. She tries to do the dance and then she can't. What do we think about this one, Lance?
This is my favorite of the fillers.
Okay.
Because it hits so many different things. I have never connected with Cody like this before. He hates small talk.
Very relatable.
He can't fake it. And you can tell that she brought that up solely for her to do the dance. And then she can't even do it. It was honestly everything I wanted. Those are the kind of filler filler segments that I like. And I couldn't fake doing small talk and any of that either. So I'm team Cody on that one. So a solid 9.5 for me.
9.5, got it down. I gotta say, Lance, I love this too. I think the thing that really makes it is how clearly uninterested Cody is in this at every step of the way. And Christmas she's gonna keep on going. You should do it now. Yeah. No one wanted her to do it now.
I don't know how the editing was obviously great, but I don't know how long the beat was between her asking about it and then him being like, "What about you?" Because that just opens up everything and it gets bad. Well, I mean, if the song's not playing, it's hard to do. And she doesn't know the words to Proud Mary. So, it's
yeah. All right. Our next filler segment here, Lance, we have an orchestra warm-up sound and then Nicole starts sneezing.
Yeah, I'm going to give it like a 6.1 because it was short, only because it was short. And when I sneeze, I'm like 1, maybe 2 sneezes. So that many sneezes in a row is impressive.
I did appreciate how some of the sneezes in the middle didn't even sound like sneezes. They just sounded like Nicole noises. I did appreciate the orchestra ramp up, and then it was just a bunch of sneezing. So I don't know that I would be as generous with the 6.1, but yes, it was mercifully sweet. Although we did have to see it twice because they opened the Wednesday show with it.
Right. Yeah. I only give it that high of a score because of how short it was. If that was like 10 seconds longer, down a good.
It's another 12 to 15 sneezes, and it would have been a much worse segment. Okay. Our next filler segment, Lance, Cody does not like his nose. Apparently, it's going to keep growing. It's going to reach his lip. Maybe he's going to get a nose job. What do you think of Cody's insecurities about his nose?
I didn't mind this because they laughed at him over his insecurities, which I thought was great because he's not a guy that gets laughed at a lot. But still, it's like a 3.9 for me.
Okay, 3.9. I feel like that's a little generous here.
Maybe I'm just being too. You told me to be a generous grade.
You guys, please. But I'm just giving my own personal opinion. If I had to rank this, this is not a. I mean, his nose is fine. Like it's a way for Enzo to reference Cody being perfect, and bring up his great hair and his 6-pack abs. But his nose is weird. Apparently, it's costing him Hollywood roles. I don't know about that. Okay,
that's probably not what's costing him.
That's not it. Okay, next filler segment, Lance. Cody does not like bananas. He gets some banana shake on his shoulder, some gorilla munch, I think Enzo called it. And then I guess Nicole throws a banana at him. They dangle some. What do we think of bananas?
That was terrible. 1.8.
1.8.
What about you?
Yeah. It's. I mean, it's a little. It feels like Nicole's the little sister and Cody's the big brother. That's like the relationship they have, and it's.
But then they also like weirdly flirt like this week too. So it's really weird.
Well, it seems like Paulie does an awful lot of flirting with Cody on Twitter. So I mean, it makes sense. So that's just kind of the whole thing. A lot of banana references this season. A lot of Enzo riding one, and his son. His son's even gonna be a banana for the holidays.
That's right.
I actually have that last on my list. So we're starting to talk about it now. The filler segment, messages from the family, Lance. We got views of everybody. We get to meet Cody's girlfriend. We get to meet Enzo's kids, and we get to once again see Victor and Victor's 2 dogs.
What was up with Victor?
Did you notice that Cody's girlfriend also has a dog, and it's the same kind of like fluffy kind of dog that Cody had no part in picking out?
So I thought it was a little weird that they didn't even like mention the dog or anything. Maybe that's just because I have a dog and I'd be like, show me the dog and stuff. So I thought that was a little weird. I didn't know what was going on with Victor's background. Like that was like, were they like historians and stuff? Like that was weird. I don't know. All those things that tug on your heartstrings, those don't work for me. So that's a 2.6 for me.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit more excited about seeing their family if I knew their family or if they were my family. Like I get why they're excited, but I mean, it's cute. Yeah. It's cute that Enzo's kids are so supportive, and I did like that. I think maybe the entire reason why they did this is it gave Victor his second shot to say that he is proud of Nicole. Victor knows that Nicole was not happy. She did a lot of talking about it last week, that in Victor's HoH letter, that he did not say that he was proud of her. She was very concerned that meant that he was not proud of her. So when he mentions that he is proud of her, there's one where she said, oh, good. It was all
she didn't even seem like that happy to see him. She just wanted to hear that. And
Toto.
And unfortunately, we didn't get really if you were just a show watcher, you didn't get the payoff of what she was talking about because they didn't really show that in the previous episodes and stuff. But if you did see the live feeds or listen to our podcast, then you got it, and it's great. So
there were a couple references on this seat that you don't get unless you saw the live feeds. Like if you didn't watch Nicole pee herself on the live feeds. I think she's going to be sad. I think she assumed that the show was going to show that, and then she blew herself up. And I think she's going to regret blowing herself up.
She definitely thinks she's the star of the show.
I don't know. I would think I'm the star of the show if I was on it.
Of course.
What do we rank that, though? The family segment, Lance. What's the ranking? What's your score?
What I get? I gave it like a 2.4, I think.
2.4? All right. 2.4 messages.
I did find it really funny, though, that everyone, including the jury house, has gotten a family video or whatever, except for Christmas in Memphis. I'm sure they did, but I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Well, it's bad timing. They're just victims of bad timing. I would imagine, if I'm doing the show and Christmas in Memphis show up in the jury house, I would probably arrange for them to have a couple of videos from the family, even if it doesn't get shown on
I'm sure
TV.
They did.
I feel like, they probably did, but we don't know for sure. Maybe we can ask them after the fact if we ever want to talk to Memphis or if we ever want to talk to Christmas. So stay tuned. Season 3 is going to be lit. Okay, Lance, moving on to our next filler segment. Cody, there's a little bit of work that can be done on Cody's brows. So we have a waxing segment where Christmas takes out a little bit of her frustrations on Cody's face. What do you think about waxing, Lance?
I thought it was better in 4-Year-Old Virgin. So I'm going to give, this one isn't the worst, obviously not the best. For, copying the 4-Year-Old Virgin, I'm going to give him a 5.1.
Okay, 5.1, a little bit better than I
like
thought an eyebrow waxing segment would get.
I mean, I like seeing Cody in pain, so why not?
He's just that type of guy, I guess. All right. Speaking about Cody being in pain, actually, I don't know if this is painful for him. I rather enjoyed it, but the segment, I named it Christmas is Ready, Cody's Pants Are Hella Tight. This is Enzo in the HoH room, spying on both Christmas and Cody, comparing them on the morning of the veto. She's got her caffeine, she's got her protein, she's ready to go. But Cody, his pants are hella tight, yo. Hella tight. Tight, too tight. First of all, were his pants too tight, Lance? And second of all, how do you rank this segment? Where does this segment land?
They were pretty tight. I'm not in a position to tell somebody how tight their pants should be. That's a personal preference. So for me, I like, a little tighter pants. So good for him. Not that tight. But I thought this was probably the second best segment. Enzo is just hilarious. And then I thought the little banter was pretty good.
Yeah. So what's the score?
And it all paid off. Let's give it a 7.9.
Okay, 7.9. Not bad. Not bad. Also, a follow-up question, Lance. Ankle socks with shoes. Is it a good look?
No.
I think
I like the ankle socks a little bit.
It works on Cody, but it seems like Cody kind of attire.
Yeah, it has to be like below the ankle. I'm not a guy that's like the half calf. Definitely not tube. I get
the long socks because I buy them at Costco, and you can get the ones with like the low cut, right? But you can't wear those with Jordans, or else my bottom, like my entire shoe, be drenched with blood. So gotta have that little bit of extra.
Yeah, you have to make sure that the back is comfy, or else you're screwed. I've had to return some shoes. I feel you.
Yeah. All right. So our next segment here, our next filler segment.
Oh my God, there's more.
Yes, there are. There are multiple filler segments left to go. Nicole can say sucks now. She used to be so innocent, Lance. She used to be so innocent. And now she can just, now she's seen a lot of stuff. She explains. Yeah. She has seen a lot of stuff.
I bet, 3 seasons of Big Brother, you see everything. But, her going from preschool to kindergarten, good for her. Not one of my favorite segments though, because that was the weird flirting that they had and stuff too. So
it's a little bit back and forth.
2.6.
2.6. Okay. Lance has spoken. Okay.
This is the way.
And we have one more. Our final filler segment of the season is everybody's working out except for Nicole, who's daydreaming about winning Big Brother. Congratulations, Nicole. Which means congratulations, Nicole. What do you think about this one, Lance?
I thought I respect, trying to speak something into existence and trying to visualize it, but it just felt so narcissistic and so terrible that I got to get a bit like a -3. It was awful.
A -3.
It was so Nicole, and it just hit me in all the wrong ways.
It's very Nicole. It's very reminiscent of Big Brother 18. I also, because they show a clip of her from Big Brother 18 jumping up and down. It feels related, but when we're going out of the previous episode where Nicole is talking about the being a second possible winner, first 2-time winner of Big Brother, it's like, okay, calm down, Nicole. that one was a little cute. I will say that there's not a lot of cute Nicole going on, but I like that. That was adorable.
Yeah, I get that. I guess if this was like the first season you saw Nicole, it's like, okay, that is adorable. And
Nicole has her moments. She does have her moments. And that is why she's a contender to win. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But just going back down the scores here, let's just go over the top 3 here. According to Lance, the top 3 are in the number 3 position. It's Nicole sneezing to an orchestral background. In second place is Christmas is Ready. Cody's pants are tight, hella tight, yo. And the best filler segment of the week is Christmas was in a talent show.
Pretty good top three, right?
It probably went better than the actual talent show itself, this segment. I think this segment was probably more entertaining than the talent show act that she did.
Oh, it has to be. And one of Cody's talents is not small talk. So
no, he's got the he's got the tight pants and he's got the good hair, but he doesn't have that.
Got that lettuce.
All right. So now that we've wrapped up all the filler, let's talk about the other filler segment is maybe the jury segment. It's not really filler because we love the jury because they're the people that we wish were still in the game as opposed to the ones who currently are. But that's okay. So we get some insight on the game as Memphis walks into the jury. Not everybody was expecting him. Nicole thought that the jury was going to be very impressed with what she had done by sending Memphis to the jury. So what's your reaction there, Lance? Was Nicole accurate? Is this going as well as Nicole hoped it would?
I don't know about as well, but it's going well. Like it's been a net positive for her, especially because you see the multiple people are like, she's a two-time winner, which, these are things we were talking about. She's a two-time winner. That's an easy thing. And, she's starting to play better. People are talking about how she went under the radar and now she's winning. People are assuming she's throwing stuff. Like when people start assuming that you're doing things when you lose, like that's a pretty good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, Nicole has got, I mentioned this. So yesterday I had the pleasure of talking with a good friend of the pod, Rachel Swindler, and Bryce over at Outside the House, their show. And we were talking a little bit about, Enzo versus Nicole and why the jury seems to be so much more into Nicole's game than Enzo's game, right? And I think a big part of it is because Nicole gets so much credit for what she did in Big Brother 18. That like people are like waiting for expecting her to be sneaky, expecting there to be a lot more going on to her game, even if there isn't. She's just got like it's her reputation that's really keeping her in the game because there's a lot that's gone on this season that just makes her look terrible, especially if she's sitting next to Cody. There are a lot of moves that Cody made that were hurting Nicole's game. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I think a big part too is Enzo. I think he just struggles to be taken seriously. I think when you're just a person who is, a funny guy who's like the clown of the house and stuff, you just don't get taken seriously on a lot of things. It happens to me sometimes. I'm just too funny for my own good, And so it's like the boy who cried wolf. So I have those, really feel those issues and everything.
So hard being you, Lance.
It really is. So I definitely think that plays against him. And then I think you nailed it with Nicole. She has that reputation of just being a winner, even if you weren't even a good winner, just winning, especially when you're with a bunch of people who haven't won. That's a big deal.
And it seems like, to be fair, it does not seem like the jury has completely written out Enzo. Devon has a segment where she is saying that she thinks that he's playing a good game and that she is waiting for him to make a move. But like, it's now, let's go, make the move. And is she going to be disappointed with how this Final Four HoH week turns out? Like when she gets the video, when Christmas enters the house, like how's that going to go? What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. They're all going to be disappointed because the easy thing he could have done, even if you are aligned with Cody and everything, is put him on the block. Take away the one thing that you can have against him saying, I've never been on the block. And now you both have that. And I think they're going to see that this is a trend with him where he just plays conservative. He plays, like a little cat, like a cowardly cat. Yeah.
It is the Enzo game. Devon is very worried that he's going to get Enzo'd, but he looks like he is going to get Enzo'd here. He is in the final three, and he was since the beginning of last week. So congratulations to him. That is a huge accomplishment in Big Brother. Even a more huge accomplishment, pardon me, Paul, than making it to the final five. But Enzo's got a great shot to win $50,000 here, but I don't think he's got any shot of winning the game. Making no moves at all.
Yeah, I think he made me lose my train of thought.
Shout out Walter.
Hi, Walter. Yeah, I think Christmas really nailed it. Like the one thing that Christmas got right was you got third place, and I think everyone realizes that, and he might even realize.
Yeah. More information from the jury here. It looks like Tyler as well, not very thrilled with Nicole's move, thinking that Cody and Enzo are the bigger pair here to be broken up. Maybe not understanding the Nicole-Cody bond. Who knows? But there's that. Dani and Ian also very much looking for Nicole to take out Cody. Devon and Tyler follow up right there. So it is pretty clear here. If Nicole takes out Cody in the final three,
it's over.
It does look like it is going to be over here because
it might even be unanimous. Like no matter what, I think if Cody or Nicole goes up against Enzo, does he even get a vote?
I think Enzo's in a lot of trouble if he goes up against Cody. He might have a couple votes in play if he's up against Nicole. We'll see. But we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the final three spoilers here.
One thing I thought was a little interesting was the David Memphis Heat. And David says this: "We never got on the same page in terms of social engagement." This is a LinkedIn masquerading as David.
That's one way to put it, right? Yeah. If there's one way I would describe their relationship is just not able to quite get on the same page.
In social engagement, it's just every jargon word you can put in there for just saying we don't like each other.
Yeah. I think it's more of maybe not now. I think it's probably a two-way street, but it was definitely a one-way street. It was a
one-way. Yeah, totally.
It was Memphis did not like David, and David was willing to grab onto whatever life raft came along.
Yeah. Another thing that popped up to me was for the jury house, and I think this is a representative of their games. I think Dani and Tyler have the best read on what's going on in the house as well, and they just seem to get it. And they were both people that didn't really take it personally, them being voted out, and they're like, we want the best player to win. And it seems like they just have the right read.
One thing that's very interesting to me about Dani in the now that you mention her in the jury house is how very negative she is in general, but also like very anti-Nicole. For someone who spent the entire game working for us, like every time someone says, "Oh, like Nicole did a good thing," like Dani's like, "Really? Did she though?" And it's like, Cody's playing a great game. Is he though? Like Enzo's the best. Is he though? It's like she just like whatever it is, like she's just not happy.
Yeah, she's playing like a little devil's advocate, but I also think there was a couple times she like said that, like when she went back at Kevin and stuff, I thought she made a lot of the right reads, and like I would hope people would kind of go back against that. And when she was having a little argument with David, she didn't handle it the perfect way, but you definitely need somebody to counterbalance like all the sunshine that they're spilling.
Yeah, that was quite the intense moment. Very, very rarely do you get such a moment where there's a discussion about her being rude, and then she interrupts David in the middle.
Yes,
terrible. All right. Okay, so Lance, I think we've wrapped up all the filler that we've got. We've gone through all the filler with a fine-tooth comb. We found all the diamonds, all the gems in there about Christmas's talent show. But there is more to come, Lance, because we are about to talk about the final three. We have our final three. We do know who wins part one of the final HoH competition. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the jury vote scenarios, and we're going to do all of that right after this. Okay, Lance, so we're back, and as promised, we're going to discuss the final three and do a little bit of spoiling here. So before we do it, let's just for those who don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but the final HoH competition is played in three parts. It is played in a part one where all three people compete. Then a part two is the two people who did not win part one compete. And then part three is the winner of part one plays the winner of part two live on finale night to determine right then and there who is the final HoH, and then they vote, and then it's basically all over. Okay. So the first part of the final HoH don't have the full details of what the competition was. There was some sliming involved. It looks like there was maybe an endurance part of it. But your winner of the first part of the final three HoH is Nicole. Nicole wins part one of the HoH, which is a little bit of a surprise. You could say maybe Cody's got the edge here. But it sets up in the coming days, a presumably very predictable part two between Cody and Enzo. Don't know what that competition is going to be, but as we've seen in past years, these get very physical. And if there's one thing we know about Enzo's Big Brother 12 game, it's that he loses in the end because he can't do anything that's physical. So
that's right. I mean, it would have to be like a monumental upset for him to not win that second round.
And the worst part is Enzo had some self-awareness about this. In the beginning of the season, he explained why he lost Big Brother 12. And it's because he took Hayden to the end. And he took Hayden to the end again. Cody's Hayden. What the hell? Like, you learn nothing, buddy. You learn nothing.
It's terrible. And this, I mean, we didn't get one big move. Like, even if it backfired, like try, shoot or shoot.
Yeah. And and I guess Memphis is Lane, right? Because they're both like that kind of like unlikable alpha male type, right?
Yeah.
And the only difference is Lane went out in Final 5 this season instead of Final 3 in Enzo's. So
that's right.
So it looks like the entire game, presumably, is then going to be decided at the very end on finale night, which is a very Big Brother thing. Like, it happened in Big Brother 18. It all came down to finale night. Who is Paul going to choose? Big Brother 19, it all came down to finale night. Who is Josh going to choose? Even though he made maybe the wrong decision, it won him in the end, right? What do you think here? So if Nicole is in the final part 3, I think she's got a decent shot to win the final HoH, right, Lance?
Yeah, totally. And then my prediction from a couple weeks ago was Cody gets cut at final 3, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah. So I presume then it would have to come to be Nicole who does it, right? Because Enzo's not going to cut Cody, right?
No, and even if he did, he still loses. So I think he goes with his boy.
It might get him a little bit of respect in the end. I think that is probably Enzo's best scenario, like for coming as close as he can get to winning, is if he does win the final HoH, he does cut Cody at the end. But I think the odds of him doing that are 0. They're boys. They're boys. It is what it is, yo. They're boys. That's it. It's done.
But to me, the interesting thing is, do Cody and Nicole, depending on who wins, keep their final 2 deal with each other, or do they cut each other? It's the only real interesting thing left.
Well, Cody's got a pair of final 2 deals, right?
Yep.
And my guess is that Cody would take Enzo in the end.
Me too.
It just seems like they seem to be a little bit closer. I think it's maybe a tiebreaker that Enzo is so much easier to beat in the end than Nicole.
Yeah.
I think Cody probably realizes that as well.
And Cody doesn't want second again.
No. And I think just on like a beyond the game level, if you have to think about your relationships with these people after the game, I think Nicole is going to be a lot more understanding that Cody makes the game move at final 3 to cut her despite having a final 2 than Enzo would if like he gets cut at final 2.
And misses out on the $50,000.
Yeah, because that's gonna. It's
that's
he's got a family, it's a bidet. He's got a lot of plans for that cash. It's not a bad consolation prize. $50,000. It's not bad.
No, not at all.
Not bad. If he'd played a little bit harder, could have added a 0 to the end. But
we had so much hope in Enzo. I know you did.
Yeah, it is what it is, Lance. It is what it is.
And it isn't what it isn't.
I don't think I'm gonna win that office pool. We got bad vibes about that. Close. Came so close, but unlike Big Brother, there's no second place in this pool. I'm just not going to win it. So
it's a bummer.
I may as well have just cast my lot for Keisha. Same result in the end, right?
It's true.
It's less heartbreak. At least they wouldn't have gotten my hopes up. So I think probably the most interesting final here. Vote is if Nicole does cut Cody at the end.
Right.
It's Nicole versus Enzo. Now you said you think there are not a lot of votes in play here. It's going to be almost a Nicole sweep. Yeah,
I think Cody probably get votes for Enzo. Like, I don't know if we get it unanimous, but I could see it, 1 or 2 votes for Enzo in the end. But even then, I could still even see like Cody being like, Nicole just played a better game. Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that that is Nicole's best scenario to win here if she is up against Enzo. But I want to talk about a little bit more about the possibility that Nicole could be up against Cody. I think there's a definitely non-zero chance that Nicole, if she wins the final HOH, would take Cody. Probably not the best decision. I think she's more likely to be the Nicole we know and love, who is willing to backstab her friends at the very last moment to get what she wants. But that's why she's a good Big Brother player, right?
That's right.
But how do you think that turns out? If it is Nicole versus Cody at the end, maybe Nicole is there because she won the final HOH, presumably. How do you think that turns out, Lance?
I think Cody still wins. It might be a little closer than you think, but I still, with just thinking off the top of my head, I still think she gets, 3, maybe 4 votes, but I still think Cody's probably the overwhelming favorite.
Yeah, I think I think you're probably right about 3. I think 6-3 is probably about as good as it gets for Nicole there. And I think it's kind of like a Biden versus Trump scenario where it's like, it's close enough that it could just wind up being 9-0 anyway. With those 3 other votes. I think you're looking at Ian being a swing vote here. I think he would mainly go for Nicole just because they're very close. But if Cody's playing a much better game, he respects that. Devon is definitely looking for reasons to give Nicole a vote, I think.
Which is sad because of all the things that she's done to her and I don't know. But
it is sad, but also it does kind of like fit into her story, right?
Totally.
Devon's Big Brother 22 story is Nicole, her relationship with Nicole, getting cut by Nicole. Her story is not about Cody. So that like it's a little bit more personal there. I don't know. Like Nicole really did screw her over there, especially when it came to involving Devon's like passion about Black Lives Matter. Like it just got very messy. So we'll see how that goes. But
I feel like that automatically just loses your vote. Like there's game and then there's personal stuff. And for me, I can see that being the difference, especially if it's Cody who's played such a strong game.
Yeah. I think on balance, I would expect that to be true too. But still, even after the fact, we've seen jury segments where Devon seems to be still open to voting for Nicole and still seems to be at least respecting Nicole as a game player.
That she's hard to nail down. So that I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah. Cody versus Enzo, that's a sweep. I can't see a single way Enzo gets any votes.
Unless it's like maybe Christmas, just because like the parent thing. That could be my only.
Someone on Reddit suggested that maybe there are a couple votes in play here, but I just don't see it. I don't know about the it's Christmas really, like Christmas just seemed to be done with Enzo, like so done with Enzo at the end.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think of anybody who like possibly could, because anybody who likes Enzo probably likes Cody. They work so close together and everything.
And Cody just played better. Yeah. It could just be for the cameras, but I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of room here for Enzo, which is too bad. Because Enzo is a very good Big Brother player. It does take talent to get to where Enzo is. Enzo had a good strategy of just saying whatever the hell people were saying to him, right back at them, and everybody ate it up until the moment they went out the door. And unfortunately, when they're going out the door, the only thought in the back of their head is, man, if only Enzo had voted with me, this wouldn't have happened. He's never with me in the first place. And that's just not, well,
that's why, like, as entertaining as he is, he also is anti-entertaining because he ruined all of the entertaining moments that could have possibly happened.
Yeah. Well, I said it before. This is perhaps the unluckiest season of Big Brother that we have ever had. It's time and time again, there have been opportunities for an interesting thing to happen. And the interesting thing never happens because the wrong person wins or someone gets scared. It's the exciting stuff. Like I said it before, like it's like the highlight is maybe Devon's veto week. That's interesting. Maybe the first week that Kaser and Janelle won the safety sweep. But even that was terrible gameplay. I mean, they were the only ones playing and they competed against each other and both blew their passes. I mean,
the highlight of the season was when Kaser and Janelle walked into the house and then it all went downhill from there.
Fair. 40. Make 40 look good. So since we're talking about King Kaser and the bombshell Janelle, I think that leads us into our next final discussion here of the Big Brother 22 Do Not Know the Winner Yet season, because we're going to do more shows, but this is the last one before we see the finale. America's favorite house guest, Lance. We talked about this a little bit before, but the vote is officially open. Go to your local polling station at cbs.com/bbvote to cast your vote up to 10 times a day, I believe, for your favorite house guest. I think a couple weeks ago when we were discussing this, you said Devon had the edge here. Do you think it's still Devon?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and
I think if Kayser and Janelle hung around a little longer, they had the nostalgia and everything. But I just think Day's so entertaining, and she has her family, and the things she really fought for in the house. I think it's just an easy decision.
I have seen that Janelle has said that if she does win, she will give it to charity, which I think is, if you're going to campaign for it and you're going to try to win this thing, that's probably the best way to do it.
It's kind of like the Enzo thing where he wants the title. She wants the titles. The money can go for other uses.
Right. Because, Janelle's probably got a $25,000 purse in her closet, like one of many. Like this is not life-changing money for her. Not that should
give it to
the
McCrae.
Deciding factor, but what was that?
Give it to McCrae.
McCrae. Now that's a guy who could use $25,000 right there.
Or give it to us, and then we'll back to McCrae.
By the way, Lance, I'm gonna ask, have you seen it? But I know you have because I just messaged it to you. I got an ad on Facebook today. It's a strangest damn ad, Lance. It's an ad for Men's Health, which I like. When you think of Men's Health, like just the cover of Men's Health, I'm like imagine like a ripped dude with like doing some curls or whatever, or
with like a 12-pack,
a sweaty runner, and like a really like a hot woman next to him, and they're both like sweaty and good looking because they're running. But the ad I got is it's from Men's Health, and it's just a giant picture of McCrae.
Secure the bag however you can, but he's not the person I would think for Men's Health.
I'm gonna put it on the screen here. I'm gonna edit it in so that people can see it. But it is rules you did not know Big Brother contestants have to follow, which is interesting coverage for Men's Health. Men's Health covering the keto beat, covering the paleo beat, and covering the what things McCrae did and cannot bring into the house.
That's when somebody wrote a feature that failed on them, and they're like, who can we get before publication?
Not surprised that it was targeted to me, though. I'm guessing somewhere on Facebook, that's interests Big Brother. And then that's just how it works.
And, muscly dudes.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, if you've got to talk about things that get me excited, muscly dudes, Big Brother, McCrae. It's like the triangle of my interests right there.
Yeah. It's like the Ron Swanson triangle.
Mm-hmm. If McCrae is in tight pants, I don't know what I do.
What about ankle high socks and shoes?
I would not be surprised if McCrae is shuffling around the house in ankle high socks right now. We'll do some research. And we'll fact check that. We'll see what kind of socks McCrae prefers.
Please do.
I prefer the Costco socks, but we'll see what he's up to. Listen, Lance, we made it. We made it through this episode. Congratulations to us. Congratulations, by the way. I got to say, congratulations to the fans of Big Brother and to the fans of Big Brother Brothers, the people who are still listening to this podcast, because you're a hero. If you have gotten through
God's work,
you've gotten through this season of Big Brother, you've watched every episode, and you still want to get more. Like you see what happens on Big Brother 22, and you're thinking to yourself, you know what? I want to hear people talking about this stuff that I'm seeing, and you're here, which is just like amazing to me. Like we're here because we've got to be, No, I'd still be here no matter what. Even if this is Big Brother 9, I'd be here.
Bunch of masochists, man.
Yeah. This is definitely not the worst Big Brother season in the world. Like
it's the worst because of recency bias.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, it feels bad because it's happening right now, and it's like we could have had something different if it was Janelle at the end, but it's not. And we've got Nicole and Cody and Enzo, and it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, if you like what you've heard here, we've got more coming. Still, we still got more content coming this. I was going to say summer, but it's the fall of Big Brother, which is weird. Big Brother 22. So be sure to subscribe to the Big Brother Brothers on your favorite podcasting app, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon, wherever you find good podcasts, you'll find ours. Also, keep an eye out for us on YouTube and Facebook. The video version of our show is there. You can see all our puppets. We've got Nicole on a Sloppies box. It's great. There's all sorts of great stuff going on.
Serial killer.
She is the serial killer. So check that out as well. We'd love it if you did. And if you really like what you've heard, you really like what you see here, please leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. 5 stars. It's the best. Please, 5. Only 5. Do the 5.
Damn right.
But yeah, that I think that about wraps us up here, Lance. We did it, and we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here a little bit. We're gonna be here more. We're gonna cover the finale. Finale coming on Wednesday.
Finale.
Yes, we're gonna break down everything that happens there. And we don't know what's gonna happen with Big Brother. There's some rumors that there may be a winter season of Big Brother coming in early 2021. Maybe it's gonna be Celebrity Big Brother. Who knows? But we're going to keep an eye out for that. And of course, we don't have any news for you about when Survivor is coming back. I assume it will. It's a very popular show. But, you know, the corona makes things weird. So
it's coming back, baby.
Whenever Survivor comes back, Lance and I will be back for Survivor Brothers. I mean, maybe not. If it's 2028, we might be gone by then. So, but if it comes back soon, we'll be here. So please follow the Survivor Brothers as well on your favorite podcasting app. That about wraps us up for this week, Lance. I'll see you back here next week. I will see all our listeners back here next week, or at least the listeners will see me, because this is a one-way thing. But we appreciate you anyway. So from very far outside the Big Brother house, we'll see you later, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.